For about 36 minutes today, the South Lawn of the White House was transformed into a Tesla showroom. A live advertisement featuring the president and the man he told Congress last week headed the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk. Now, this was, as the president described it, meant to be a boost to Musk and Tesla, specifically encouraging people to buy those cars. They are having sales issues right now, as you may know, and the president was wanting to help his largest donor. The event took place at the same moment financial markets were plummeting for a second day after weeks of declines, hurting investments and retirement savings. Many economists point to President Trump's tariff policies and the uncertainty around them. A much deeper route was avoided today as the White House eventually walked back Trump's early morning threat to double tomorrow's steel and aluminum tariffs on just Canada. Still, 25% tariffs are scheduled tomorrow for all nations. And there's a highly anticipated inflation report out tomorrow morning. The president spent little time discussing any of that publicly today. He had Teslas to sell.
So what is this one, Elon?
That's the Model Y.
That's a Model Y, so I have a lot of information, including the price.
Yeah.
I want to make a good deal here. You know, I do notice this. They have one, which is $35,000, which is pretty low. What is that all about?
Yeah, what is all that about? Indeed, a photographer for Getty Images captured this shot of the script the president was reading. You may recall this happened a number of times with President Biden as well. Above the president's thumb there, you can see the Tesla models to mention as well as their prices. And below his thumb, you can see the part about how Teslas can be purchased as low as $299 a month or $35,000. It only got more surreal.
It's like driving a golf cart, basically.
No, it's beautiful. Very simple.
It's very simple. So it's literally like a golf cart that goes really fast.
Now, minutes before he said that, the Dow closed down more than 478 points, or just over 1%. The president did make a few comments about the markets and economy.
Do you and your tariff policies right now bear any responsibility for the turmoil we're seeing this week?
Biden gave us a horrible economy. He gave us horrible inflation. And I think the market was going to go very, very bad.
Well, keeping him honest, the S&P 500 was up over 23% in 2024. And as for his statement that the market was going to go very, very bad, that's not what he said about how the markets would be if he was elected. And it's not even how he spoke about the markets just last month.
We're on the verge of soaring markets.
Well, Trump said that on February 19th. On that day, the Dow and S&P were up for the year over 4%. 2 days later, markets declined after a monthly report showing Americans feared higher prices because of tariffs. Markets have continued to fall ever since. Today, he also took a third swing at a question that sent markets tumbling yesterday.
I think there will be a recession.
I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom. But as I said, I can do it the easy way or the hard way. The hard way to do it is exactly what I'm doing, but the results are going to be 20 times greater.
By the way, a lot of stocks may have been down today, but Tesla's ended the day up nearly 3.8%. We begin tonight with CNN Chief White House correspondent Kaitlan Collins, who also anchors The Source at the top of the next hour. I guess today was certainly a sign of how much the president supports Elon Musk.
Yeah, I mean, he was bothered by the fact that his stock was down yesterday. He brushed off the fact that the stock market overall faced steep declines yesterday, Anderson, the steepest of 2025, and since Trump has retaken office. A lot of that, I think, also is in part because, one, Trump is completely serious about his tariffs that he has imposed. Obviously, he's imposed more tariffs in just the last few weeks since he's been in office than we have seen before. And I think, when he had that meeting with the business roundtable this afternoon, about 100 of the top corporation leaders inside the United States, a lot of them had hoped that on the campaign trail, when he talked about tariffs, that it was really just bluster and what we were going to see ultimately with the economy. Obviously, it's not, because we've seen he wakes up in the morning, he was upset with what the Premier of Ontario said. He then said he was going to double the steel and aluminum tariffs that are going into effect at midnight tonight on Canada. They're going into effect on all the trading partners, but he was going to double the ones on Canada. And when he was at this event with Elon Musk, he backed off of that after a call between the Premier and Howard Lutnick. But it also really just speaks to his mindset and his view of the stock market overall, Anderson, and how he is not pulling back from his plans when it comes to tariffs just because of the negative reaction from the stock market. Now, with Elon Musk and the Teslas here, I mean, this was something that the president wrote late last night on social media that he was going to be doing today. I don't think anyone realized that it was going to be to the degree of which it was in the South Lawn, where he was touting the Teslas, getting inside of the car, cars, asking about how much they cost and just going through what they look like. But that obviously had to do directly with Elon Musk's stock being down because of, in part, his role and the tariffs and what the stock market has looked like overall.
Yeah, Caitlin, thanks very much. We'll see you at the top of the next hour. Your guest is Senator Mark Kelly, who Elon Musk called a traitor after he posted a picture of himself on X in a trip he took to Ukraine. Appreciate it. Joining me now is Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat of Minnesota.
Hey, Anderson.
Thanks for joining us. Got a lot to talk to you about. What goes through your mind when you see the president doing what he did today, essentially pitching Elon Musk cars on the front lawn of the White House?
So the president is now doing promo videos for his buddies' cars. That's what I think. At the same time, you've got chaos up, corruption up, costs up, and the market down. What he should be doing is going in and seeing the effects of these tariffs on our farmers and our ranchers, on small businesses, on manufacturing, and on regular people. I mean, it's like over $2,000 tax on an average family with these tariffs. And even the threat of them is creating economic havoc, as you see in the stock market.
What's the impact on your state?
Well, we are actually a state that's the fourth biggest state, Minnesota, for agriculture exports. 20% of what our farmers make and what our ranchers make, they go to other countries. Those are big markets. We like to sell things to other countries instead of the ships going one way. We want to sell stuff, and it's going to make it really hard to do. Lumber, that's going to affect everyone with housing because lumber's going up, coffee's going up. You all know eggs is going up. We also have many successful companies that do a lot of trade. And so I've always been a fan of targeted tariffs when they're necessary. But this is not targeted. He has gone across the board with what he's done with China at 20%. I mean, that is like soybean markets for so many American farmers, or what you see happening right now with even the threats in Canada. And we used to, Minnesota and Canada were like this. But when people are booing each other's teams at hockey games, he has really caused a divide here that I think is going to be hard to fix for tourism and the like. So this is bad news. And instead of doing promotional videos for his buddy, he should be out there promoting America, helping America recover from these policies and getting us in a better place so we actually work on housing and childcare and bringing healthcare costs down. That's what should be happening right now.
The Canadian province of Ontario, they're suspending its promise to add a 25% surcharge on exports of electricity to some U.S. states, including Minnesota, after Premier Doug Ford had this conversation with the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. I want to play you something that Peter Navarro, President Trump's senior trade advisor, said to Jake Tapper earlier today about that.
Puts a 25% surcharge on electricity. People hear that in America and might go, oh my God. Okay, you know how many states that affects you?
Three: Minnesota, Michigan, and New York.
And for all practical purposes, one, because Michigan and Minnesota, it's a nothing burger. It's only 3% of New York, and New York can replace every kilowatt of that power from Canada at only a slightly higher price.
So is he right? Would it be a nothing burger if in Minnesota?
Well, at first he thought he was saying that Minnesota and Michigan were nothing burgers, but
No,
I think
he
he
was
meant
not.
the electricity. It's very hard to assess how much it's going to be in each state, but I think the key is that this was the beginning, right? He's serious. When the premier and former Prime Minister Trudeau and Trudeau's party and the new Prime Minister are basically on the same wavelength here, when they're so different ideological, Canada is united, Anderson. They're united on this because they're sick of the rhetoric. They're sick of what's going on here and how Trump is acting. So you're just going to see long-term damage to one of our best allies. At one point, the Canadian embassy was draped in flags that said partner, friend, ally. When no other embassy would do something like that, when people were mad at our country for other reasons, that's what they had up. So I'm hopeful with all of our allies in Europe and South Korea and Japan that we're able to actually open up trade for our markets in the U.S., not close it down.
At what point do you think the economic uncertainty itself becomes more of a problem than actual tariffs?
Well, the economic insecurity is what you are seeing show up at these town hall meetings for Republicans. It's the economic insecurity and inconsistencies that you see show up with what's happening with the stock market. It's what you see when you see these prices escalating everywhere. So people have a right. I mean, Larry Summers just said, and I do not want this to be true. I want Trump to stop tormenting the economy like this. But he said just today that 50% chance we could be heading to a Trump session, to a recession. That's not what we want. So what I'm hoping is that he listens to some people who will cool this whole thing down in terms of what he's doing across the world, and that we can get back to doing some actual work. And of course, the things he's doing to the ransacking the government to find money to pay for his billionaire buddies' tax cuts, the debt that we're going to see added to $4 trillion. It's an unbelievable curve that we're going to see if this House budget goes through.
Yeah.
And then you go from there to what he's been doing to these agencies that are needed to do things like approve medical devices, big part of our economy, that are needed to help farmers get loans. This is all part of the ecosystem that is America. And that's why people are so pissed off in red districts and red states right now.